Welcome back, everybody, to episode 61 of White Claw Wednesdays. We are getting up there, back in the duo study. Let's get these cracked. Oh, yeah.
Digital cheers.
Digital cheers. Ooh, I almost took a sip there. My bad. Cheers up, brother. So how we doing?
I'm doing good.
I'm doing great, too, man.
The weather here is nice. You know.
A part of me wanted to see how long we could go without bringing up WandaVision.
Yeah.
And another part of me wants to bring it up
wants
right
to bring
away.
it up right away. Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah,
I wanted that was on my mind.
So why don't we just knock it out?
Yeah, let's do it.
We might have double episode, back-to-back episode title WandaVision.
Yeah. We could
because,
title this one Final Thoughts.
Yeah, okay, final thoughts. Just because, I mean, it's so good. It is that good to where it requires us to talk about it again. And, of course, it was the finale this past week.
Yeah.
So lots of things happening. Why don't we start with your thoughts, buddy?
Well, my thoughts is I'm disappointed with the fact that they really gave us the full middle finger on Quicksilver.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, they went as far as naming him the character named Ralph Boner.
I know. That was a big slap in the face.
And I was like, oh, man. That I was sitting here thinking that Harkness, she was able to open other dimensions, and she was going to be like bringing in Hugh Jackman as Wolverine and, you know, Ian McKellen as Magneto or whatever. And I'm just jumping to all these conclusions, and it's just like they're like, oh yeah, his name's Ralph Boner. So that was just like, that was a hit to me that made me realize, okay, the Fox characters I think are completely left behind. You know,
I think they're legacy type deal. Like they're gonna recast probably, you know, maybe in the future.
Yeah. I think they will. I think they'll recast all the X-Men. But I just thought that was. It reminded me of when they tried to make you think that Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio in the beginning of Spider-Man Far From Home, they tried to make you think that he was from another Earth and was part of the multiverse. And that ended up being a total fake out.
Total lie, yeah.
Yeah, and this felt like a different fake out, though, with casting Evan Peters as Quicksilver. It felt more of like a fake out that was impossible to not get faked out by, you know? Maybe not impossible, but it's just like when you do something like when you're bringing back Quicksilver and you bring back the one from the Fox movies, it's just to nerds everywhere. It just absolutely.
It's the same actor, right?
Yeah, like it's the same actor from X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men.
Yeah, that's kind of
Apocalypse, X-Men, Dark Phoenix, the trilogy of those movies.
Yeah.
It just I was like, because there's you could have cast anybody as Ralph Boner, you know. Clearly that wasn't. It was seriously just like a fake out, just a hardcore fake out. But I did enjoy it as a fan of Evan Peters and as a fan of getting fooled, because sometimes I get fooled a lot by these movies.
It was kind of like a made you look type of moment where you're like, oh wow, like this is actually nothing. Like this is just all a big joke, is what it is, kind of, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not even like subtle, you know.
Yeah.
That part I didn't mind that much. I mean, the whole Ralph Boner thing was kind of funny to me.
It was. I laughed for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. My thing was like, you know, Agnes was always talking about Ralph, her husband Ralph, you know?
Yes.
And then it ends up being Ralph Boner, I guess, but he doesn't come in until like way late. So that sort of didn't add up to me.
Yeah.
Another thing that really bugged me, that was like a major plot hole, and I guess we're getting into what we disliked first, but
yeah, why not?
One of the things that really, really immediately I was like, wait a second, what if, like, how does this, you know? And I was talking to Anna, Amanda's sister, because we were watching together, and she's a fan. Okay, if Agatha wanted to take Scarlet Witch's powers, right? If she wanted to take her powers, then why didn't she take her powers when they were both in the dungeon and she had cast those runes around to see or to stop Scarlet Witch from having her magic?
Yeah.
That was like
Dude,
a major thing for me.
Yeah.
I get like, oh, she wanted to know how she got it, blah, 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 blah. But like in reality, she could have just taken it right then and there.
Right then and there,
Right?
exactly.
Because that's how Wanda does it. I mean,
Yeah,
for
it is
me,
interesting.
that was like, wait, so Wanda won by casting the runes, which Agatha had already done and had her totally fooled before.
Yeah, that to me is glaring, obvious, in your face cliche.
Yeah.
And it's the villain exposits his or her plan before the finale of TV show, movie, whatever you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
It's the classic villain trope where they get the hero in the box, in the situation of you can't escape and I got you, but instead of just going for the kill, going for the finish, they explain everything to them, whether that be explaining about their plan or explaining about like trying to figure out like what they're about. Like they just go through exposition. So it always screws the villain. And I didn't even notice. It just like I'm just so used to seeing that now that I didn't even realize like, oh, why isn't she just taking her powers right here?
Yeah, exactly.
And now that you mention it, it is a huge plot hole. But that being said, when you got to the point where they were both in the sky and you think that Agnes has taken all of Wanda's powers.
I mean, she is, right, until the runes are cast.
Yeah, until the runes are cast. But I realized when she takes Wanda's power and then she tries to, push it, do a little, basically destroy Wanda, and she's got nothing coming out of her magic hands.
The hand choreography.
The hand choreography with the magic dust that isn't working. As soon as that was happening, I realized, I was like, oh, I thought of like the hex. I was like, Wanda created the hex. That's her. She's so powerful that her sanctuary is the entire town compared to just, the underground dungeon of Agnes's house. And by the way, I don't know, that seems to be another thing that kind of went unexplained is, how is there a dungeon? Like, what kind of magic is Agnes using to where she has a dungeon that's completely unaffected by everything else in the town?
I mean, I guess it's just coined to Agatha's knowledge of witchcraft. That's what I would point it to. I mean, she really wasn't under the spell.
She wasn't. Yeah.
So she was just sort of acting the part.
Yeah, she was playing along to find out. And that's a good point about it. It goes to why it was kind of dumb for her to not just take Wanda's power when she first had her in her what's it called? What did she refer to it as? The
runes?
The ruins, yeah. When Agatha had Wanda in her ruins.
Runes. RUNES. Runes.
Okay. Runes, like RuneScape.
Yeah.
So when Agnes had her in there, it's if she's aware, like, oh, the Scarlet Witch is the most powerful sorcerer.
Yeah.
If she knows that, and she's already willing to like take the Scarlet Witch's power, and her thing is taking other people's power, and if in her mind what the greatest power is the Scarlet Witch, and she's like down to take that, then why even like go through the trouble of, like you said, going through all that exposition with Wanda and finding out she's the Scarlet Witch? Why go through all that trouble when you already know you're going to take the power? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Also, another thing that was bugging me, maybe not as important or maybe more important.
Yeah.
Wanda cast the runes, okay?
Yeah.
And they're floating in the air.
Yeah, they're like
if
they're
Agatha
in the hex.
Couldn't use her magic, how is she floating? Does she just have that ability? I mean, that didn't make sense to me. Is now Wanda holding her up? I mean, that's the only explanation, right?
Yeah, that
How
is
is
true.
she floating in the air?
How was she floating in the air?
It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Okay,
Yeah.
but let's not get too into the nitty gritty stuff.
To the nitty-gritty,
Overall, I
yeah.
really, really enjoyed it. I really liked what they did with White Vision,
Yeah,
although
dude,
somewhat
White-
anticlimactic. The sort of Spider-Man meme moment where, they're both pointing at each other. It's like Vision and Vision.
Yeah.
Sort of anticlimactic in that. I mean, it's anticlimactic, but at the same time, it's inherently Vision in like his character. How they did the thought experiment and it like opened the White Vision's mind up and he touched his
The
head and
yeah,
opened
he
up
touched
the
his head.
memories and
He touched his head.
he touched his head, yeah. But so I was kind of I wanted a bigger battle. I mean, that's just me being a superhero fan, but
Yeah.
it makes sense. And now Vision is out there with memories. How this new Vision is going to be reacting to those memories, we don't know. But he is out there and he is real. I mean, he's the Vision, the old Vision's body with sort of a new program, but also the old Vision's memories. So, yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to see. It's going to be weird to see it in the future. I think Wanda and White Vision will have this like weird moment where they're like, you know who I am, and she like starts touching his face, and he's like, I don't. He's like trying to fight it or something. That's just what I imagine.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be reunited, and I could feel that with the very end when she's with the Vision she made herself.
Yeah.
And the town is closing in, collapsing, disappearing, or the hexes, I should say. And they already said goodnight to their two kids, and they have like a moment where Vision says like, I'm sure we'll see each other again or something like that.
Yeah.
And that to me felt like
third time he's died, by the way.
Yeah, true. Very true. That
like low
felt
key,
like
man.
well, I mean, it makes sense that they keep killing him off because he is a robot. So he's like,
it's true.
he's like the robot character of the MCU, sort of. So it makes sense that he's died and come back multiple times. But I can see that whole line of being like, oh, we'll meet again as just the preview and the wink towards the fact that she's gonna see White Vision again. And I think that when the Vision that Scarlet Witch created, when he touched the White Vision's head and gave him all the knowledge, I think there was like a shared understanding between the two of them where not only did he give him his whole past knowledge, but he also gave him all the knowledge of what had happened in the 8 episodes leading up to episode 9, which basically told White Vision, this is like another version of me I'm looking at who's just as in love with Wanda as I am, and he's tied to this world that we both know is wrong, and that was just shared with me. So that's why White Vision just takes off. Like he says, I am Vision, and he just bolts through the sky. And you're like, wait, if he's Vision, then why isn't he going to help Wanda? It's because he understands that in that moment, he's got another version of himself who only exists to Wanda and is connected to Wanda. So he's giving that version his time with Wanda and leaves so he can come back later. That's what I took it as, not as like he's bailing. That doesn't make any sense. It was like an understood moment between the Visions. Like, I have time to spend with Wanda left. Let you spend the rest of your time with her.
Wow, that's deep. I just really thought he needed time to process things. I mean, his goal was like, I am going to destroy Vision, right? That's what he was saying.
That was his goal.
So,
that he was
then
programmed
the thought
with
experiment.
by the
Then he's
sword.
like, oh wait, I'm actually, or we're both the real Vision. I think that's what the conclusion is.
We're both. Yeah, they're both the real Vision, exactly.
And then he like bolts through the ceiling.
Yeah, bolts through the ceiling. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You can tell he's much more distressed too. It's the way I guess the makeup is done, but also how
they
Paul
changed the
Bettany's
eyes.
playing the character. I think he's much more distressed casually. Does that make sense? Like normally he looks much more distressed.
Yeah,
So.
there's a difference. I think he did a really good job playing both a robot who's in like kill mode and then a robot who's in learn mode. You know, he did both very well, because usually Vision's just in learn mode, but this white Vision that we got in the finale was in kill mode for most of the episode, and that was cool to see him play that, because the character has a completely different feel. Like, he feels way more powerful when he's in like that Terminator mindset.
Yeah. You know what they also did? I mean, I don't. This was like a little too much for me, but I mean, they really accomplished their goal, I think.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted us to hate that Hayward character so much.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, when he comes out, man, I forget if he's already been smashed with the truck, or if he hadn't.
Wait, when he
been
comes
yet.
out with the cuffs on?
No, he hasn't had the cuffs yet. I'm talking when he pulls out of his car and he starts like shooting the kids.
Oh yeah, that's before before he gets crashed into by Darcy.
Bro, what? Like, you're on a whole nother level right now, you know? Like, that just wasn't the vibe that I was getting, you know? It was more like
that was the vibe I was getting.
The power hungry type of character, and then I guess right there he just like lost it or something, and then that's sort of where we see Monica's powers, and she like absorbs the bullets. I don't know what the type of power is, but
I like, she was like phasing through the bullets.
Yeah, something like that.
You know,
but also stopping them.
Yes, also stopping them. Like, she
providing
was
just enough barrier.
So to where the bullets would slow down. Yeah. But I kind of saw that Hayward guy. That was his name, right? Hayward, something like that.
Yeah, Hayward.
Yeah, Hayward.
I don't know his first name.
I saw him taking out his gun and shooting at the kids as, really the proof that he was so emotionally removed from the situation the whole time. Because, you know, he's there from the beginning, and he's seeing that, like, Wanda's pregnant, and then fast forward and boom, suddenly they're, 8-year-old kids or whatever. So I don't think like he was seeing them as important pieces. You know, he was just seeing them as these weird offsprings, or I mean, that literally they were offsprings of Wanda, but
I mean, they weren't real, right? So
they weren't exactly. So that's how he was like processing the situation, in terms of like, it was an easy final thing for them to get us to really hate him by getting him to shoot at the kids, but it was also, I thought it made sense with his character, because he's like, oh, I already got to deal with Vision and Wanda. Why do I don't want to have to deal with these two kids who also have superpowers. And so he was probably seeing them as like just easy takeout, but then, Monica Rambeau just comes in and just blocks the bullet. Speaking about Monica Rambeau, did you watch both after credit scenes?
I did, yeah.
So that scene where the scroll comes in,
yeah,
pretty sure that's referring to Nick Fury being up in space, and it's a little kind of preview for Captain Marvel 2. So I'm assuming Captain Marvel 2 will be some sort of Monica Rambeau, Carol Danvers, that's Captain Marvel, a little adventure between the two of them in space with Nick Fury. That's my guess for the sequel, based on that after credits scene.
And they're coming out with I think a whole, I don't know if it's a movie, but I thought it was a series.
Oh yeah, the Secret Wars.
Yeah, with I mean, Nick Fury, Ben Mendelsohn, and the Skrulls are like the main characters, or at least that main guy in
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, right? Yeah,
Ben Mendelsohn is playing the main Skrull from Captain Marvel, and then Nick Fury, played by Samuel L. Jackson, is going to be in the series. So, yeah, I mean, it's also probably more likely a hint for that, but I'm assuming Monica Rambeau will be in that and also be in Captain Marvel 2. But the other after credits scene, I thought was interesting, because you hear the kids screaming for help at the end.
What do you think that is? Because I have no idea.
And she was saying, right as she said goodnight to them, she said, "Thank you for choosing me as your mom."
Mm-hmm.
So that whole choosing thing, I mean, I again don't want to go to the whole, multiverse theory of different dimensions and different versions of characters coming out of other worlds and entering new worlds,
Mm-hmm.
just because of how hard they tricked us with the, X-Men Quicksilver. But I don't know. It feels like to me, with having her astral project herself, kind of like Doctor Strange does, and she's
Yeah.
going and she's got the book and stuff. I don't know. I think those kids are still alive in some way, whether that be in another world or just like in some like hell dimension or something like that. I don't know, but because that magic has to have some dark power to it that it can access some like demon dimensions or something. I don't know, but
Maybe it's like, maybe, I mean, you just sort of brought a thought in my mind. Maybe it's like actually the next villain that is trying to trick Scarlet Witch into like opening up some type of like portal or something,
that's good, dude. I like that.
That was really good, right? Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know
Marvel,
if I don't know
hire
if you've
me.
heard of. Have you heard of Mephisto?
No, I haven't.
So Mephisto is kind of like the Marvel version of Satan. So pretty much like imagine what Satan looks like general drawings, where he's like big, red, muscular, has the horns, all that kind of stuff, surrounded in fire. So that's kind of Mephisto's deal. So there is a chance someone like a Mephisto is luring Scarlet Witch into a place where she thinks she can save her kids, and she ends up getting captured and mind controlled by Mephisto, and then boom boom boom, we end up in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, whatever it's called, and Scarlet Witch is the bad guy fighting Doctor Strange, getting mind controlled by Mephisto. She fights Doctor Strange for the first couple acts of the movie. By Act 3, Mephisto curse over her mind is broken. She teams up with Doctor Strange. They fight Mephisto. Boom.
That's a very and I that kind of leads into the point that they made. I think it's Agatha. She's got the book and she's like, it's your destiny to destroy the world. She says something like that. So
exactly,
dude, I think we're onto something. I really do.
We are.
I mean, these are pretty good guesses right here.
I like, Whew, I'm getting chills just thinking about how close we could be, but also how far off we could be.
Probably. Yeah, we're probably nowhere near. I honestly think after watching this series, Scarlet Witch is one of my favorite superheroes now. I really, really enjoy the series.
Yeah,
and also low-key a celebrity crush now, Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, I've been crushing on her since Godzilla. Is she looked good in that movie, and she's looked good ever since. And,
is she going to be in the crossover Kong versus Godzilla? Or is she in that one?
I don't think she was.
It's like new characters every time. I don't think she is
going to be. That's funny you say that, because they're kind of carrying over some same characters from Godzilla King of the Monsters. But with Godzilla from 2014 and then Kong Skull Island from 2017, those characters haven't carried over to the new ones, I don't think.
Are they bringing back that? I think he's Japanese actor. He's like the one that's kind of the main like scientist in Godzilla.
Did you not see King of the Monsters?
I don't know. Is that Kong?
Okay. No, that's the one that came out in 2019, Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's the third one in the Universe series, and it's...
I think that's the one with him, right?
Well, he's in that one. He's also in Godzilla. So it started with Godzilla in 2014, and then Kong Skull Island in 2017, and then Godzilla King of the Monsters in 2019.
King of the Monsters is where they have the
Mothra
alien
and
monster.
all the... Yeah, they have the three-headed alien monster.
I saw that one.
Yeah, you saw that one? Okay, well, the guy you're talking about, the scientist guy, he dies in that one.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, King of the Monster. He dies in that one.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler. but
this whole episode, spoiler.
He's got a great line in the first Godzilla in 2014, the one with Elizabeth Olsen. And actually, what's funny? Elizabeth Olsen, she plays the wife, and she's a nurse who's working in hospitals and stuff when Godzilla's attacking, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But her husband, her character husband in the movie, is a soldier played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, a.k.a. the MCU Quicksilver, who plays Elizabeth Olsen's brother in the
Yeah,
MCU.
yeah, yeah. I saw.
Yeah. It was
I
kind of a
saw-
weird thing because the Godzilla comes out in 2014 summer, and you have them playing husband and wife,
Yeah.
and then you jump to summer 2015, and then now they're twin siblings. I was like, whoa. It was a fun little jump.
I saw a meme on Reddit that was I think it must have been scrolling through like WandaVision things or something, and
Yeah.
I saw a meme and it said like, is anyone else or is everyone okay with the last time we saw them they had a sex scene or something like that? And then now they're brother and sister.
Yeah, that's the meme right there. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I was what I was thinking about when I saw that meme too is Scarlet Witch's outfits and stuff and the whole design of it.
Yeah.
I'm a really big fan of the new outfit.
Yeah, her new I'm not gonna lie, I shed a few tears when she was having that moment where her outfit was forming around her. She was creating
sick.
her outfit. That was like, I was like,
Yeah.
oh man. Dude, I love the moments, like any superhero movie, any superhero TV show, and it doesn't matter. Even if it's like good or bad or whatever, that moment where the hero has their triumphant hero moment where they, just shoot into the stardoms of their powers pretty much, and they realize the peak of their powers pretty much. It always happens in like the third act of every movie, and it always gets me every time. Always
man.
makes me shed a tear.
It's beautiful.
Hers especially.
Yeah, so I was seeing that moment and I was thinking back to Avengers Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Where it's pre-battle in Sokovia, I think. Pre-battle in Sokovia.
Mm-hmm.
And
Are you talking about the before the final battle starts?
Before the final battle, yeah.
Okay.
Pre that. And Wanda and her brother Quicksilver are sort of realizing that they made the wrong decision because, oh man, I forget how it happens, but I think Wanda like reads Vision's mind, but he's not Vision yet. He's being downloaded from Ultron.
From Ultron, yeah, exactly.
And she's like, oh, I can see what your true plan is because previously
your
she
plan
couldn't
is to
read
destroy
his
the
mind.
world. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's how they come to that conclusion. And then now they're like part of the Avengers team. And, Cap's famous line, like, suit up. And then it cuts to a scene where Wanda and Quicksilver, like, go and put on suits and stuff.
Yeah, I love that part.
Where did those come from? You guys just joined. There's no way that there's, like, universal fits for everything.
Oh, yeah.
And
You're saying,
Quicksilver
like,
pulls
how
out
do they...
the Adidas.
Yeah.
It's just like...
Yeah. Dude,
like,
I remember
that was...
That was Scott's favorite part of Age of Ultron because we saw that together in the movie theater. You were there too, but I remember Scott saying, "Oh, dude, I loved when Quicksilver grabbed his Adidas. That was sweet." Scott, he's like the target audience when they're doing the product placement.
The product placement, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, dude, he drinks Red Bull. Fuck." But
Tony Stark drives an Audi. My new favorite car.
Tony Stark had there's that, I can't remember which Tony Stark appearance it is, but he pulls up in an Audi or an Acura, something like that. But they added the engine noises. I mean, they pretty much always do this in terms of sound. They add the sound post.
That's Endgame, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about. It's Endgame when he's rolling up after they tell him about
it's
time
an
travel.
electric car. Like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when he's driving an electric car. It's like an electric concept car. And they add in a big engine rev, even though electric cars don't have any engine.
Oh no, maybe I'm not. No.
Yeah,
I remember him rolling up at Endgame when he figures out time travel, and then he comes after they just made Ant-Man like 80 years old, and then a baby, and then back to Ant-Man's age, whatever. And he rolls up, and the car's like. It's making this like super cool electronic noise, and I just remember I was like, "That's totally edited. Like, there's no way the car sounds like that."
Yeah,
sounded sick though.
Yeah, sometimes it's funny. Sometimes there's moments in movies where it's like, "Wait, that didn't make that sound." That's a good example of it. I will say that I don't think you could put in a electric motor. Like you wouldn't get any sound off an electric car if you were just watching it, like trying to shoot it with a camera, and then you were using the sound that you got from the shot. That
No,
wouldn't be enough to make
you'd have
any.
to like hook a mic up to the car or something.
Yeah, like you wouldn't be able to
Something like
get
that.
any. No, that's why they got to add that stuff in afterwards.
That
'cause
reminds
it's
me of the
just-
scene
You're not
where-
getting it.
in The Office where
Mhm.
Andy and Dwight are fighting over Angela.
Oh,
they're
yeah, yeah.
doing like a battle to the death in the parking lot, and Andy, I think he taped something to the hedge or whatever, and he rolls up in his Prius, and Oscar's giving like commentary because Dwight isn't noticing. He's like, if he stays under 5 miles per hour, it's completely silent.
Yeah,
Hilarious, man.
because Andy puts the note on the bushes right in front of a parking space, and Dwight's
Yeah.
reading it out loud. He's like, "I can't fight you because in a physical match, you would clearly best me." And Dwight's
Yeah.
like, "True." And then Andy is just creeping up on him, and then he
And
just
then
he
crashes
just slowly
it.
starts running him
Yeah.
into the bush.
Yeah.
And I love because they're like, "Dwight, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, my leg's kind of asleep though." Oh,
Yeah,
man.
and then they realize that Angela slept with both of them.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, they realize, and then they're
That was
both
the
like,
moment right there.
Yeah, I love Dwight's face when he, because Andy's like, well, how could she be sleeping with you and only sleep with me twice?
Yeah.
And Dwight's like, she's sleeping with you. And he's
Also,
like,
why did
"I'm
they
her
decide
fiancé."
twice? Why did they
Which-
decide twice? You know?
Because I think it's just a joke,
a little joke about what the kind of relationship that Angela and Andy had,
you know.
Which
It
was
was
like
just like-
non-existent.
which was pretty much non-existent. Yeah.
Okay, jumping topics. Did you watch any of the UFC fights over the weekend?
Dude, I didn't actually, and I was super bummed about it. I told myself I was going to watch the highlights, but I did see all the results though. So
Yeah.
lay it down for me, man.
It was funny. A few weeks ago, there was an ad on TV. I was watching TV with my dad, and the ad comes on, and it's talking about Amanda Nunes fighting. And I'm like, oh, like, phew, man. I was just talking about how good she was. I was like, I don't even understand why anybody's challenging Amanda anymore, because like she's just gonna dominate the competition. I'm saying all this to my dad, like talking about how great she is, and then my dad's like, oh well, I'll bet on her. Like, I'll bet on the fight. And because I was
With
talking
you?
about how, yeah, I bet on the fight with me. Because I was talking
Okay.
about the kind of odds that, like, if you were to take Amanda Nunes in a fight, you would let the other person basically, win a lot more money if Amanda Nunes lost. So if I'm
Yeah.
betting on Amanda Nunes, the payoff isn't as great as if I'm betting on the other person and the other person wins.
There's an
So-
over-under of like 300 probably.
Yeah. So I tell my dad, I'm like, I always go small bets. I'm not a big spender.
Is this one of you and your dad's famous $1 bets, or
It
What are they,
is.
$10?
It is. It's exactly that. But my dad only has to pay me $1 for Amanda Nunes winning.
yeah?
So, and I would have had to pay him $5 had Anderson,
That's
I think.
Honestly, that's probably pretty
last name was.
accurate to the actual like betting odds.
I would say so. Yeah, I would say 5-1. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and Anderson, the fighter who fought Nunes, didn't even last 3 minutes of the first round.
Yeah, it was bad, wasn't it?
It was a 5-minute per round fight, 25 minutes. She couldn't even make it 3 minutes. I mean, and this was Amanda Nunes' first fight after having a kid.
I think
she-
she had a
it-
baby. She had a
Yeah,
kid?
she had a kid. Yeah, she had a
No
baby.
way.
And she was doing the post-fight interview with the baby on her arm.
Oh my
and-
god, that's awesome.
And she was talking about how, a lot of people like doubters will say, oh, becoming a mother, makes you soft or whatever. I don't know. Not that I would say that, because the mother has the instinct of protecting the cubs. And that's the metaphor that Amanda used, is that she feels like her fighting is only going to continue to get better now that she has a child to
I mean, she
give
doesn't
the world to.
get beat up. I mean,
Dude,
there's been like
crazy.
a couple fights where she's actually taken some damage, but
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, she doesn't get beat up, and that all counts, you know. I mean, when
She-
you're sparring, from what
Yeah.
I know, you have like a helmet on most of the time, or that little padded thing on. So I mean, when you get your head beaten to a pulp,
Yeah.
that's lasting damage, and she doesn't get beat up.
She always looks so in control in the fights. Every time I see her
yeah.
fight, she's because I've seen her I've seen fights with her where she ends it in under a minute, and then I've seen fights where she goes all 3 or all 5 rounds, and every single round is her just pummeling the fighter, and it just happens to be that she's fighting someone who is tough as
Yeah.
nails, like tougher than the
Mhm.
usual fighter, and they're just able to just take a beating for the whole fight. That was a recent fight we watched together at the beginning of pandemic last year. I remember where she went 5 rounds with this other fighter, and the other fighter was just the whole time was just getting absolutely destroyed. And I remember you and me were saying like, oh man, like why doesn't she just give in? But the fighter mentality, you can't give in. But yeah, Amanda Nunes is just, she really is the greatest of all time in female fighting. And I feel confident
Yeah, no
saying
question.
that, knowing nothing really about fighting at all, really. Like not being a very lacking in knowledge kind of fan is what I am when it comes to fighting. So, but I still feel confident saying that Amanda Nunes is the greatest female fighter of all time. Don't you think?
No, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, she's definitely the best pound for pound now. And I don't really know much about the past, but yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's accurate. I mean, she's
Yeah.
won titles in 2 divisions now,
Yeah.
and has defended her title for a very long time. So
And I'm not saying anything like my whole greatest of all time stance on her is nothing original. All the sport
you heard it here, folks.
all the sport talking all the sport talking heads people, like I stole it from them. Like they like
Can we get a Sports
plenty
Center
of
quote?
people are calling her the GOAT.
Frank Jacobs.
Did you say a Sports Center quote?
Yeah, can Sports Center tweet your quote right there?
Breaking news.
So did you watch the Adesanya? I can't say his name, but it's like Blazkowicz or something. Did you watch
I
that fight?
did. I watched that fight. Well, I just watched the highlights. But
Okay.
I will say that it was the first time I had seen Adesanya, style bender. That's his nickname,
Mhm.
I think. Yeah.
Mhm,
First time I had seen the style bender look uncomfortable. Excuse me. Look uncomfortable. Like it was the
Well,
first
he's
time.
not naturally that big, right?
Exactly. But it wasn't even necessarily an uncomfortableness about. I didn't feel like I was watching someone who was uncomfortable because they were fighting in a bigger weight class. To me, it felt like I was watching him face the first fighter who was able to confuse him. The guy who we're having trouble pronouncing his name, his last name starts with a B.
Yeah.
He was doing all these kind of these fake jabs to where he was pretending to strike in one way, and then he was coming at him with another thing, and it seemed to be working because it seemed to keep throwing the style bender off his stance. Like he was switching, he just looked uncomfortable. Like he never got into a rhythm in the time I was watching him. But him, the style bender being such a tough guy, like it goes all 5 rounds and it's a decision kind of fight, which makes sense to me because a guy that talented and that dominant leading up to this fight, it's more than likely that he doesn't just get knocked out. He just gets beaten technically, because he's so tough and he's so athletic that he's hard to just take down physically. But this other fighter that he was fighting, who's, more accustomed to the weight class, I assume, based off his look and his build, that he was able to, just beat him technically.
He went up to heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
Or was it light heavyweight?
I think it was light heavyweight.
Okay.
I think it was light heavyweight, just based
Yeah,
off
that
the guy
makes
he
sense.
was. And that was what was weird is the style bender. He looked normal, like he looked like he did in all his other fights. Like it didn't look like he was. He did look like he was fighting up a weight division and didn't even get up to the weight. Which I know isn't true for the rules. I can't.
Well, I mean, the thing with fighting is like you cut weight before, and then you naturally just. I mean, I shouldn't say naturally because I really don't know the science, but
yeah,
you get back up to a decent weight just by water and I guess your body storing as much calories as it can after you've essentially starved it. So I'm sure that I'd like to see the weight, I guess weight totals. I don't know if that's the correct terminology, but I'd like to see where Adesanya was versus Mr. B. We'll call him Mr. B.
Yeah, Mr. B.
But I mean, that doesn't even tell us what they were at the fight, though. You know,
True.
the whole weight system to me. I don't know. It just doesn't. It doesn't make sense. I mean, it's part of the sport, and like I don't want to disrespect anybody, but to me, if you're 165 to 170, like why not just fight in that range? You know, this whole like going down to go back up to get an advantage. I don't know. It's like everyone's doing it, so you're really not getting an advantage, right? Like everyone is going down to go up.
You mean like weigh in at 165 and then eat your way to 170 before the fight?
No, I mean if you're naturally 165 to 170, I feel like you usually try and cut maybe 15 to 20 pounds. I honestly don't know, but I feel like you try and make like a 150 to 160 division, and then you would gain the weight in peanut butter sandwiches and water after, and go back up to 170, right? And it's like the idea of I know not
peanut butter
don't
sandwiches.
Quote me on this. Actually, SportsCenter, please quote me. And I mean, if everyone's doing that, what is the point? You know, like why not just stop? Like make that illegal in the sport, and then fight at what you weigh. I mean, that makes more sense to me. I feel like I feel like fighters will last longer. Doing that, dieting like that and dehydrating your body is not good. Everyone says it, but it's just this weird standard, you know? And it's wrestling. I think it's all fighting sports, so what do I know? But
it's definitely wrestling too, because there's that scene in Foxtrotter, it's called. It's the biopic about a wrestling coach who goes... Well, he wasn't he wasn't the coach. He just spent a ton of money on this college wrestling team. But that's not the point. Point of the story is there's a scene in the movie where Channing Tatum playing a wrestler.
Can you give me a full rundown of the movie, please?
Channing Tatum playing the wrestler.
He gets all upset about his upcoming match, so he decides to, basically throw it, and he orders a ton of room service the day before the fight, and he's just gorging himself, going to town on all these meals, just trying to like ruin his chances of making weight. And then his brother / coach finds him in the room, with all these empty plates around him, and they spend like the next however many hours or so before the weigh-in making him sweat it all out and puke it all out. And it was it's a brutal scene that it's all fake obviously, but it captures the intensity of someone who would be curious to know what it's like to go through, weight losing before a fight or before weigh-in, because that seems to be something that people who aren't fighters or wrestlers like you and me could just never actually fully wrap our heads around.
No. Yeah,
but watching that scene makes me, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't want to do that,
I mean, yeah, you said it's fake, but it can't be that far from reality,
Yeah.
I mean, it's got to depict at least a decent accuracy of what actually happens.
I agree. Yeah. So, Ryan, did you watch the All-Star game, I should say?
No,
NBA All-Star game?
No, I didn't.
Well, Steph Curry won the 3-point shootout.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. It was a pretty awesome. That was my favorite part of the night, I would say. But that and also the All-Star game was pretty fun.
The All-Star game is what is entertaining to me, especially last year's. Last year's All-Star game was really entertaining.
Yeah, this year's All-Star game was fun because Steph Curry and Damian Lillard were on the same team. And even though they were on the same team, they still ended up kind of competing for who could take the more ridiculously long 3-pointer. And I mean,
That's awesome.
they were just pulling. Like, there was a point where there were a couple times where Damian Lillard pulled up before crossing half court.
No way.
Like-
That's badass.
And then they both made a couple threes that were just one step past half court, and they had to hit a score limit because the weird rules were like every quarter was like a different competition. So the first 3 quarters, whoever won the quarter, money would be donated to the charity of their choice.
Mm-hmm.
And Team LeBron won all 3 quarters. And then the fourth
All three.
quarter,
Oh, okay.
all 3 of the first quarters. So all the money goes to their charity for those 3 quarters. And then for the fourth quarter, it was like reaching a score limit. So pretty much the cumulative points of the first 3 quarters for Team LeBron and the cumulative points for the first 3 quarters of Team Durant were all added up and put neck and neck. And then you put 24 on top of 24 points. You add 24 points to what Team LeBron had, and that was the goal, basically. So that was the goal to reach for the fourth quarter. So pretty much Team Durant starts in a hole because they lose
Right.
the first 3 quarters, and they're already down. So their gap to cover, like they had to score like 46 points or something like that. And all Team LeBron had to score was 24. So you kind of had it was kind of fun because the rules made it so where you were still watching something competitive in a way. Even though you have Team Durant getting blown out in the fourth quarter, you still have this number, like this cap you're trying to hit. So you're still kind of watching something exciting because you're still trying. I mean, you're still seeing Team LeBron attempt to hit this number as quick as they can. And that's when you got into the cool shooting of Steph and Damian because they were just trying to get the score there as quick as they could. So they were just pulling up. And then Damian Lillard pulls up one step inside the half court and drains a 3, ends the game. So it was entertaining, but I will say that my overall take from the weekend is that I still miss the East versus West when they just did that. I just think it was...
Yeah, why did they ever stop that?
I don't know. I have a theory that it's to feed LeBron's ego because this is the fourth...
Yeah, probably.
This is the 4th time that they've done this whole team captain thing. And every single one of the 4 times, Team LeBron has been one of the teams. Like, he's been a captain. And
Yeah,
the
but it's
other...
like fan voted, right? It's like
I think it's
people
fan
vote for
vote.
the captain.
I guess it is. Is it voted for the captains?
Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely is.
Oh, you're
Well,
right.
All-Star-
It is.
Isn't All-Star? That's not chosen by.
Well, my bad, LeBron. I thought LeBron was fixing the system. I totally forgot that the All-Star voting determined the captains. Sorry,
Yeah, I think
LeBron.
it's- You gotta vote for it or something.
Yeah, because now that you're saying that, it's just like the light bulb goes off in my head. Now I feel like an idiot for talking smack at LeBron, and acting like he was.
I mean, you can still talk smack.
I can still
on him.
talk smack to LeBron, but
They
like,
would have known.
I totally
mean,
forgot
he's
that
just-
the
he's
fans
that
the
big.
fans voted. Yeah, he's that big.
that
He's that
big.
huge. Yeah, he's that huge. It makes
They
sense
would've
that
known.
every single season since they've started it, he has been one of the team captains. And now and I guess that makes sense for why he's now saying I don't want to do the team captain thing anymore because he kind of knows like he's probably going to get voted in again next year.
He's like,
Man.
can I opt out of
Yeah.
All-Star Weekend?
You know what? It's like I was hating on LeBron for finessing it to boost his ego, and it's like he doesn't even need to finesse to boost his ego at this point. Like it's already good. Like the fans got him. Like
I mean, he finished Space Jam, didn't he?
he
So,
did finish Space Jam, yeah.
That's coming out. I mean, he is iconic, man. He is the face of the league. You know, whether you
is.
like it or not.
Oh, I mean I like it.
No, you don't.
I love it, dude. Are you kidding
No,
me?
you don't.
Yes, I
Come
do.
on.
You need a face of the league, Ryan. Come on, you need
Okay,
a face of the
alright.
league. And
Frank has two different attitudes when it comes to
I do.
NBA.
I do.
It's game time, Frank. Hate on everyone, and more subtle. Oh, I love basketball, Frank. Just casually
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no game on, then I'm like, oh, I love everybody. Let's all
Yeah.
hug. I'm sorry, LeBron,
There's a
for
game
hating
on,
on
you're
you.
like, God, LeBron, you piss
Yeah,
me off.
Exactly. No, that's exactly it. Yeah. But it's just that's the great competitive side of sports, to where when
Yeah,
when the clock is running, the other team is, your mortal enemy.
You ever seen that? Man, I don't even think it's a TikTok. It's a video of
Mm-hmm.
someone recording their dad watching football, and he's like, it's like, dude, it's like way over the top, man. He's talking about cutting people's throats and like sending them to hell. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think he's a Steelers fan or something like that.
Some of my favorite internet videos are of sports fans getting really mad.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite videos is, how the Rams, my 21st birthday, February 3rd, 2019, the Rams and the Patriots squared off in the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, right.
And the Rams only scored 3 points, Patriots scored 13. They win.
Yep.
But the NFC Championship that the Rams won to make it to the Super Bowl was played against the Saints. And there was this super controversial pass interference call that set up the game-winning field goal for the Rams, if I recall correctly.
Okay.
Game-winning field goal for the Rams. So the Rams are kicking the game-winning field goal against the Saints, and the Saints fan, like as soon as the ball goes through the upright, he punches his TV square in the middle of it.
Oh my God.
And he yells, man, fuck. And he punches it right, and he absolutely obliterates the screen. Just
yeah, dude.
it was
They're
only like a
flat
20
screens, man.
it was a small 24-inch flat screen, maybe 30 inches, something smaller.
Yeah.
And he absolutely just wrecks it. Like his fist goes straight. It almost felt like a comic book, like an animation almost, because it was so perfectly in the middle, and as soon as his fist hit it, the sides of it, all like making a circle around his fist, everything just split and cracked, and the image just went away.
Yeah.
And the TV just collapsed in on itself and fell behind the dresser that it was standing on, and he just walked out of frame. And he wasn't fazed by it in any sort of like
Just
the pain sense.
A casual
It felt
losing game.
casually, like he just lost the game, had to punch the TV to smithereens, and then he was walking away. He was good. Like he probably walked into his kitchen and made himself a sandwich after that, and he seemed so calm right after the punch was finished. But that's things can get intense,
Oh yeah, dude.
And whether you're betting on something, like whether you have money riding on it or you just got a lot of passion for the game, like, oh man, watch out.
The worst thing that I do is sweat really bad when I'm watching an intense game, and I'm like really rooting for someone. I'm dripping, dude. I'm like, but you know me, I'm not really an angry type.
Yeah,
maybe I'll try it one day though. Just start
getting
screaming
pissed.
and
yeah. I'm a big stander. I have a hard time sitting.
Are you? Oh my God.
when things are getting.
You're definitely not one of these people, but there are people who stand up and just start like inching closer and closer to the television, and then sooner or later they're blocking everyone's view, and they're like, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm more of like a straight up, just like literally just right in front of my seat I'm standing. It could still block some people in terms of in certain viewing settings, but most times with your seat when you stand up you're good. It's the same energy like when you're at the sporting event and the big play is coming up. Usually all the fans stand up. Like you remember the football you remember football games and how the most intense moments everybody was standing.
Well, and it's not because everyone wants to stand. It's because of people like you, and then they block one person's view, and then it's just like a snowball effect.
Everyone's like, all right, let's do that.
All right, I guess I'm standing, and it's like the person behind you, and then sooner or later, the person in the front row looks behind, and they're like, oh, we're standing.
Yeah, I can imagine a super rich guy who's like, yeah, I have to stand for games, so I bought the 2 rows behind me too, so I won't hear any complaints.
Seriously, that's hilarious, man. All right, you want to call this right now?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right,
Episode
everyone.
61.
Episode
Coming
61.
to a close.
Coming to a close. Please like, comment, subscribe. We love y'all.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Peace
Cheers
out,
up, brother.
everybody. Cheers.